Have you ever gotten to the end of your day and just felt drained? You were busy, you were running around, but you don't feel like you actually did anything meaningful? It feels like you're just reacting to things all day instead of actually being in the driver's seat. Well, we're here to talk about how to flip that script. This is all about designing a day from the ground up that's truly intentional and, actually lines up with what you care about.
So let's just start with a really big question right out of the gate. Are you truly living your life each day with some kind of purpose? Or, if you're being honest, are you kind of just drifting? Just reacting to whatever emails, texts, and emergencies life throws at you? It's a heavy thought, I know, but it's really at the core of everything we're about to unpack.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what an ideal day really is, because it's probably not what you think. Then we'll get into the good stuff, the practical steps, really understanding yourself, creating a super clear vision, turning that vision into a real actual schedule, and finally, figuring out how to live it without being ridiculously rigid. All right, first things first, we have got to get on the same page about what we're even trying to build here. This isn't about daydreaming about a fantasy life, it's about intentional, practical design. Let's break this down, because this distinction is absolutely crucial. It's so easy to confuse an ideal day with like a beach day, a total escape from your life. But that's not the goal. An ideal day isn't about escaping your life. It's about building a life you don't need to escape from. It's a day that's built around your real goals, a day that helps you grow, and a day that leaves you with a genuine sense of fulfillment, not just a temporary break. And this quote from Nietzsche, man, it just hits the nail on the head. Real, lasting satisfaction doesn't come from just chilling out 24/7. It comes from that feeling of making progress, of getting stronger, of overcoming challenges. That's the feeling we want to engineer our ideal day around. So how do we start building this thing? Well, it doesn't start with an app or a calendar. It starts with a good, long look in the mirror. The very first step is all about deep self-reflection. It sounds so simple, but it's honestly the most critical piece of the puzzle. You can't design a day that fulfills you if you don't know what actually fills you up. This self-awareness, this is the concrete foundation we're going to build everything else on. So, let's get practical for a second. I want you to genuinely think about this. What activities make you feel completely energized? You know that feeling when you're so into something that you totally lose track of time? That's what we're looking for. Those moments are your clues. That's our starting point. Okay, now let's go a level deeper. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you want to be. What are your core values, really? Like, what principles guide you? And what kind of impact do you want to have on the world, big or small? Getting clear on this stuff is what gives your schedule a why. All right, so once you have a better feel for your own internal compass, it is time to get creative. We're going to move from those abstract ideas and values to a really concrete, vivid picture of your day. And here is an awesome little brain hack to make this whole thing way more powerful. When you start writing this out, do it in the present tense. Don't say, I will wake up early. Say, I am waking up early. It's a subtle shift, but it tricks your brain into feeling like this is real and totally achievable. It closes the gap between who you are now and who you're becoming. Now, let's really flesh this out. Use these prompts. What does your space look like? Your home, your desk? Walk yourself through your entire morning routine. What kind of work are you doing? Who are you spending your time with? How do you chill out at night? But look at that last bullet point because it's the most important one. How do you want to feel during this day? Focused, connected, at peace? That feeling, that's your North Star. A vision is amazing, but let's be real. Without a plan, it's just a nice daydream. So now we get to the fun part. Getting practical. How do we take this beautiful vision and turn it into an actual, functional schedule? This is where the rubber meets the road. So, the first tool in our toolbox is time blocking. This is super simple but ridiculously effective. Instead of a messy to-do list, you give every single task a specific time slot in your calendar. This makes sure that your priorities, the things that actually make your day ideal, get the time and attention they deserve. But wait, how do you decide what gets a time block in the first place? Well, that's where the Eisenhower matrix comes in. You sort all your tasks by whether they're urgent and important. Now pay close attention to that top right box, important but not urgent. This right here is the magic quadrant. This is where your deep work, your personal growth, your long-term goals, this is where they live. These are the things that are so easy to push off, and they're the exact things you have to schedule first. And around those big, important blocks of work, you need some solid supporting habits. Think of these as the pillars holding your whole day up. Things like actually tasting your food without staring at a phone, moving your body every day, reading something that makes you smarter, and, this is a big one, strategic relaxation. And that means actually getting away from screens to let your brain recharge. These aren't luxuries, folks. They're totally non-negotiable.
So, you've done the self-reflection, you've painted the vision, you've built the schedule. Now for the most important part, right? Actually living it out in the real world and doing it with the right mindset.
And this might be the most important piece of advice in this entire thing. Your ideal day schedule? It's a compass, not a cage. Life happens. Things will go wrong. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to have a sense of direction. It's about having a flexible guide, not a rigid set of rules that shatters the moment your kid gets sick or your boss calls an emergency meeting. And of course, you're gonna hit roadblocks. That's guaranteed. If you find yourself procrastinating, it probably means the task is just too big. So break it into tiny, easy steps. If you're constantly distracted, you need to be ruthless about designing your workspace for focus. And when that motivation starts to dip, and it will, you have to go back to those core values. Remind yourself why you started this in the first place. Now, for everyone out there thinking, this all sounds great, but my 9 to 5 is never gonna let this happen, here's a quick practical guide. Don't just go ask for a change. Build a business case for it. Seriously, prepare a proposal showing how this new schedule will actually benefit the company. Suggest a short trial period and then go out there and prove that this new way of working makes you even more productive than before. And finally, please remember this isn't a one and done thing. Your ideal day isn't set in stone. Who you are today might not be who you are in 5 years. What you want will change. So think of this as a living, breathing document. You've got to revisit it, tweak it, and adjust it to make sure it's always aligned with the person you're growing into. So let's bring all this home. Forget about trying to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's a recipe for failure. Based on everything we've talked about, what is the one small, super manageable change you can make tomorrow? Just one thing to get you a single step closer to that ideal day. Because that is where this whole journey begins.